So let me give you just a little bit more information about balanced eating and kind of what it looks like. So I know I mentioned it a little bit in the first intro video, but again, let's take a look at this little plate right here because that's going to give us a great idea. So again, we're talking about how to balance our macronutrients in a way that's going to give us really good hormonal control. I'm going to go up for a second because here are the benefits. When you get your balance correct with your food, you're going to find that you can lose excess body fat at the fastest rate possible. Now, listen, I know that we can go and look at a gazillion studies. One saying, oh, if you eat no fat and no oil and no starch, that's the way to go. And this one says it's only high fat and that's the way to go. I get that. But here's what I found over 40 years is that you can do those. And I actually find that extreme diets are kind of sexy and fun, right? It's kind of neat to go, all right, I'll just eat all the vegetables and starch and everything that I want, and that's going to be it. But let's face it, when you do that, you're going to be missing some valuable nutrients. And I really think there's nutrients that we haven't even discovered yet or have names for. Yes, there's polyphenols and antioxidants and proteins and amino acids. There's just so much in food that if you take out a whole food group or a whole two food groups, you're going to end up getting some kind of nutritional deficiencies. It really is, like everything, about balance. And do I need to say the M word? Moderation. And when we get the right balance and we eat in moderation, truly everything does come back into balance. So you can lose excess body fat at the fastest rate possible. And there have been those studies that show the zone diet compared to the keto diet, compared to intermittent fasting, compared to just plant-based. And pretty much you're going to lose, let's face it, we can lose inches in weight on all these, but long term, the weight loss and the nutritional whole food is best with the zone. And you're still getting tons of vegetables if you're trying to be whole food. That's still a whole food. It's still plant-based, but we are going to give you more protein. So anyway, there you have it on that. You'll also maintain wellness for a longer period of time, perform better, think better. And the one thing that I found really helpful is my energy level stays really nice and consistent through the afternoon. I know when I didn't eat like this and I was just trying to do plant-based, and if you're plant-based and it works for you, great. But when I did it, I enjoyed it. I love to be able just to eat unlimited amounts of veggies and some fruit. I thought that was great, and I wasn't hungry, which I found interesting. But what I did find was at 3:30, 4 o'clock, I needed a nap. Like I could not keep my eyes open. And it was like, oh, what's going on here? And then I realized that I didn't have that balance. So that's why for me, I found even having good energy and mental focus is a huge factor, obviously, to have a good lifestyle. So that's that thinking better, performing better. All right. So how does it work? Well, I've already kind of shared with you that it's 40, 30, 30. What does that mean? 40% of the calories that you're going to consume on this are going to be those complex carbohydrates. Again, you can see your vegetables, especially the non-starchies, a little bit of fruit, especially the low glycemic, your berries, some apples, pears, and some whole grains. Yes, you can still have whole grains. You're just going to have to watch the amount because you're going to be balancing. So there you have it. A third is going to be protein, 30% lean protein. And that can be your chicken breast, your fish, it can be your soy, whatever, if you're having tofu, it can be your pea protein. So again, this isn't about being vegetarian or not vegetarian. You can make this balance work regardless of what the rest of your thoughts are about that. And then a little good fats. And with the zone, we'd like to have as much of the monounsaturated fatty acids like your olive oil, your avocado, and your almonds. Why? Because they are proven anti-inflammatory fats. And this is an anti-inflammatory diet because so much of even our hormonal weight is about inflammation. So we really want to get that systemic inflammation back into balance. All right, so this was just a cute little, I thought I'd share this with you, the zone food pyramid. So you have your vegetables on the bottom, then your fruit, your lean protein, your oils, and a little starch and grains. So again, you can still have them, but in a smaller amount. So that's basically what the zone is, or balanced eating. Now, with balanced eating, you can try this in two different ways, just kind of depending on your own personality. So if you're someone that does not like to measure and weigh and be exact, you just kind of want a basis for how do I do this? You can absolutely do that. And I'm going to show you that in a second right here. So I'm going to change over my screens. All right, so you can absolutely do it using a plate and or your hand. I always love it. I trained with Dr. Barry Sears, who created the zone, and he always loves to say, if you have a hand, you can do this. So why is that? Well, let's start with the hand first. So in your hand, you would have the lean protein, the size and thickness of your palm of your hand. And that, if you have a plate, so you have your hand and here's your plate, is going to be about a third of your plate and the size and thickness of your hand. So what, again, is that going to be? It's going to be your chicken, fish. Yes, you can have beef. I would recommend having a very lean grass-fed beef so that it has a good combination of the omega-3s and you're not getting a lot of grain-fed, low-quality beef. It's not really a good health food. Eggs, if you like eggs, low-fat dairy foods, if you can eat dairy, tofu, and Dr. Sears does have his own, he calls it the zone pasta, which is a protein. It is pasta, but really helps keep your satiety up. So if you want to use some of that food, I'm not going to talk too much about that. It's available on his site. All right, so a third protein, it's going to be between 21 to 25 grams of protein, depending on whether you're a male or a female. Females, usually around 21 grams, but we'll get to that in a second. All right, we're just going to look at our hand and our plate. Now on the plate, 2/3 of your plate is going to be filled with your low glycemic complex carbohydrates, which are your vegetables, some legumes, if you like beans, lentils, etc., and maybe a little fruit. So it's 2/3. How do you use your hand? Two big handfuls, especially if they're low starchy. So that's what that plate's going to look like. And you got a hand, you got a thumb. Well, you're going to have just a dash of fat, which is going to be about the top knuckle. You can have some nuts, some nut butter, some avocado, maybe a little peanut butter. It's going to be about that much. And when you do that, you have balanced your food, your macronutrients, and then you should feel really good. How are you going to know that you feel good? Well, here are a few rules to do the balanced eating in the most efficient way. Number one, Dr. Sears always recommends that you eat within an hour of getting up and you eat your balanced meal like that. When you do that, and let's just create one in our heads right now. Let's just say you have maybe third a cup of some oatmeal. So you have some of your grains for that in your complex carbohydrates. Then maybe you have a scoop or two, or maybe let's just try one scoop of some good protein powder that's going to give you maybe about 14 grams of protein. So you can mix it in there. Sometimes people take that in water, mix it up. So like they have the milk, but it's really protein powder. A nice vanilla really does a good job. Now we can add some berries. How about some blueberries? So maybe we do half a cup of blueberries. We put those in. So now we've got our carbohydrates. We've got some protein. Maybe we would have two turkey bacon slices, and that would give us a little more protein. And how about a dash of fat? Well, I always like to put some slivered almonds in there. So maybe I do a tablespoon of slivered almonds. And there you have a really well balanced complete breakfast. Now, how do you know that you're in the zone and whether or not that worked? Well, now you need a timer. So you take a look. Let's just say that you had that meal at, let's say, 8 o'clock in the morning. You want to check about 8 to 9 to 10 to 11, 3 hours. How you feeling? Are you hungry? Do you have good mental focus? Good. Are you tired? Nope, feel good. Great. Let's go one more hour. You don't want to wait more than 4 hours, but at 4 hours, how are you doing? Well, most likely around 4 hours, you're starting to get a little hungry. Perfect. You should get hungry around 4 hours. It's time now to eat your next meal. So that would be around, what would that be? About 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Great. Again, you're going to have your lunch, balancing that off. So maybe you have an apple and you have some, I like to always do a little bit of turkey. I have about 3 ounces of some sliced deli turkey with an apple. And then I like a little bit of peanut butter. And that's my lunch. That pretty much just got my lunch. And again, 3 to 4 hours later, I like to test. How am I doing? Well, if I'm good at like 3:30, and I know for me, I don't eat until a good 7. And if I'm teaching 8, which is late, a lot of you don't eat that late, but that's just my lifestyle. So then I know I'm not going to be able to go from lunch all the way to there. So I'm going to have a balanced snack. And that would be a time that maybe I might have half a protein bar that has that amount of protein and some carbohydrate, good. And then I can make it to dinner. And pretty much if I end dinner at 8, 8:30, I don't really need anything in the evening. But if you eat really early, say at 5, you might want to have your snack maybe about 9. And then again, balanced. And that's how it works. So you don't have to make it like weighing and measuring. You can do it using your hand, using a plate, and using just the general understanding of it. And that can work beautifully. It's a great way to start so you can kind of get a sense of how it's working. But if you're somebody who really wants to measure and weigh, you really like being very structured, check out the next video and I'm going to show you how to do it using the block method.